Don't get f***ing smart, dude. If you don't want to do it, walk away. I'll get someone who can do it.
You're the big superstar.
I'm a big superstar. F*** you, man.
No, come on. It's okay.
Sometimes, the filming of a movie is so exciting that the behind-the-scenes action is nearly more entertaining than the movie itself. That being said, some stars just got a little too heated with each other and let their anger get the best of them. At number 5, Tyrese Gibson and James Franco. They starred in the 2006 film Annapolis, which was directed by Justin Lin. Franco is another actor in Hollywood who has a bit of a reputation for being difficult to work with on set. But in this movie, Franco wasn't only difficult to work with. He also said he wasn't a fan of the movie or the time he spent shooting it. Co-star Gibson did not join Franco in trashing the movie, but he did have some things to say about Franco's method acting. In an interview with Gibson, he talked about how the action scenes with Franco ended up getting a little too real. Apparently, despite telling Franco to lighten up with his hits while practicing for their fight scenes, Franco didn't listen and ended up actually slugging Gibson in the face several times. Gibson said, "I never want to work with him ever again," and I'm sure he felt the same way. It felt very personal. After the movie, Franco tried to own up to the incident and even apologized to Gibson through various interviews. Franco has since blamed himself for being too into his character, but made sure to state that it had nothing to do with Gibson. By the way Gibson recalls the events, I think it's safe to say Franco needs to do more than just apologize if he ever wants to be back on his good side. At number 4, Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. There are plenty of examples of stars that don't get along or who have fought with Chase, but the 1987 fight between these actors is pretty legendary. Not too long ago, Lorne Michaels spoke about the incident and even took some responsibility for it. While on the podcast Fly on the Wall, host David Spade and Dana Carvey asked Michaels about the fight. Spade asked, "Did Bill Murray punch Chevy, or is it a fake story from the old days?" Michaels confirmed they got into a fight. And the SNL creator admitted that it was probably his mistake for bringing Chase back to host the show after only a year and a half since he'd left the show.
It was probably my mistake because I was bringing Chevy back to host, but it was a season and a half after he left.
Apparently, tensions around the studio were already high because of Chase taking them by surprise and rushing off the show. But Murray was determined to push things to the max. Late in the week, Murray addressed the elephant in the room and told Chase that everyone hated him. Just before the show was set to air, Chase confronted Murray and challenged him to a fight. Murray lunged at him, and the two fought before being pulled apart. Despite their fight, the actors patched things up not long after, famously sharing a scene together in the 1980 film Caddyshack. At number 3, Sylvester Stallone versus Richard Gere. Before Stallone became a massive star for Rocky, and Gere made it big with An Officer and a Gentleman, the two were both cast in the 1974 film The Lords of Flatbush. If you've ever seen the movie, you'll know that Gere is not in it, and that is because he was supposed to have a leading role until the two actors' dislike for each other got in the way. In fact, it was actually an on-set fight between these two that led to Gere getting the boot. Stallone said that Gere would strut around in his oversized motorcycle jacket like he was the baddest knight at the round table. One day after rehearsals for a fight scene, things turned physical while Gere and Stallone were eating lunch. Stallone revealed that he was eating a hot dog in a car to get out of the cold when Gere jumped in eating some greasy chicken. Stallone said, "That thing is going to drip all over the place. If it gets on my pants, you're gonna know about it." Gere then proceeded to bite into the chicken, and a small greasy river of mustard landed on Stallone's thigh. This prompted Stallone to then elbow Gere in the side of the head and push him out of the car. The film's director had to choose between the two, with Gere ultimately being replaced with Perry King. At number 2, Jim Carrey versus Jerry Lawler. In the movie Man on the Moon, Carrey starred as comedian Andy Kaufman and channeled his method acting approach while filming the movie. This film partially focuses on Kaufman's relationship with Lawler back when the two performers had a long-running feud. Jerry Lawler is a color commentator and professional wrestler. Lawler and Kaufman had a feud that often blurred the lines of reality, and their famous spat on Late Night with David Letterman led people to believe it was real. Lawler later revealed that he and Kaufman were actually friends, but I guess Carrey didn't know that. Not only did Carrey think that Kaufman didn't like Lawler, he thought he hated him. Walking on set, saying, "We're walking along and I'm looking around, walking over to this trailer, and all of a sudden, I see this big glass bottle of orange juice or something fly through the air. almost hits me, splashes all over. Then, apparently, Carrie as Kaufman yelled, "I'll get you, Lawler." This was the wrestler's very first introduction to making a movie. Carrie even once spat in Lawler's face, with him saying he believes the actor took it a little overboard. Reportedly, the past is in the past, though, and Carrie later mailed Lawler a letter saying it was an honor and odyssey to work with him. At number 1, LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx. The 1999 football drama, Any Given Sunday, was a project full of testosterone. So I guess this fight was bound to happen at some point during filming. The follow-up came along while LL and Fox were filming a scene in which their characters, who are football players, are arguing on the sidelines next to their coach, played by Al Pacino. Their scripted argument didn't take long to transform into a real physical fight, with Fox slapping LL. But Jim attempted to break the men up, but their brawl only intensified. Cinematographer Sal Totino recalled the event for The Ringer in their oral history of the film. Totino said LL threw a massive punch that hit Jamie in the face. Jamie falls back and hits the push bar on the techno crane. I thought he snapped his neck. Jamie pops up, full-blown fight going on, punches flying everywhere. One of their co-stars, Andrew Bernarski, who stands 6'5", also shared his role in the fight, saying the director grabbed my arm, saying, "Andrew, do something." So I tackled LL Cool J and pinned him to his stomach. In the end, the fight was so bad that Fox actually called the police, but no one ended up pressing charges.